Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tome of Knowledge. Hooray! I feel like it's been forever since we did this. Welcome to our show where we talk about whatever we want.
In my mind, I thought you were gonna say Out of Combat, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
That's the wrong show. Wait.
This is a different show.
I was struggling trying to find the right button on my stream deck. I was like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one, because I shifted it around the other day.
That's how long it's been.
2 weeks, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Deja was texting me. He was like, did you mean for the scheduled stream on YouTube to be at 2 a.m.? I was like, no. And then I checked it and it's right now. So I don't know what happened. I was like, no, we're not doing it too. But I guess it's fine.
Speaking of YouTube, I think it would be a very interesting stream if we did it at 2 in the morning.
I'd be grumpy.
We'd be tired out of our mind. It'd be like 5 a.m. for VS.
Yeah, when we wrapped up, I'd have to go to work.
Yeah, shit. I would be, the only way I would do it is either be tired and grumpy or probably high. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But anyway, youtube.com/@casters and cantrips if you want to go watch over there for the live stream that's not at 2 a.m. That's it right now. And also over on Twitch too, Casters and Cantrips. But thank you all for tuning in. This is our first scheduled program for this week, whereas Wednesday we've got Bun Bun art stream at 7 p.m. Hopefully she hasn't been feeling too well, so we're gonna take that day by day. But then Thursday you have episode 28's Out of Combat, gonna be releasing on our YouTube page and our podcast, which is everywhere. And then Friday 6 p.m. episode 29.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
I can't believe it's already 29 episode. To be honest,
I can't believe we don't have Hayden back.
Yeah. How long has it been real time? It's been like a month at least.
It's not my fault.
No, it's really not.
It's like our real time or in-game real time.
Like real life time.
I mean, I can figure that out. I think it's been a few days or a week in game, and then a month in real time. Anyway, the real reason we're here this evening was a topic that was submitted by Village Idiot. And by the way, if you would like to submit a topic for our Tome of Knowledge streams, which are what we're doing now, or Out of Combat like after episode stuff, just go hang out or head over to our Discord. It's discord.gg/casters and cantrips. Then you can find the appropriate channel and ask your questions, and we will answer them.
That's right.
So, question of the day. It's from Village. She was mentioning that she and some of her friends were talking about character identity and D&D classes. And they thought it'd be an interesting topic of us to discuss how we create characters that translate well with the options of D&D 5th edition. Do you choose a class and design a character around it? And if so, how do you make sure your character is unique in that class?
Yeah, that's a good one and a tough one.
Yeah.
For me, it's really tough. Like if I've never played, I'm the old man moves here playing 3.5. 3.5 had so much content and options. Like 2 people could play the same class and be super different, just because of the options that 3.5 had compared to 5th edition. So that's the one thing I struggle with 5th edition is I'm not able to create the characters I want to create because of the limitations of 5th edition. So I really had to lean on how I essentially role play that character or like instead of just doing the classic standard, like most optimal high damage weapons, I'll pick like a weird weapon that people don't normally use to try to be like interesting or unique. But yeah, so tough. It's tough for me to kind of make a character that I want to make in fifth edition. So, but also depends on like a whole bunch of factors of like what's the setting, what are our availability or restrictions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So to the question, is it like an I depends for you? Do you usually start with a concept first, or like a class first, or
I usually typically I start with a class first, and then I'll build around it, and then I'll start generating themes or ideas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it is a very depends question because yeah, what's this? I'll usually the DM will give like this is the campaign we're gonna do, and this is what the world is like, and then I can kind of formulate how my character will fit within that world or that setting.
Mhm.
So usually there's like a little synopsis, or I usually get like a one pager. Like this is the campaign we're gonna play. Here's the theme, and here's what you guys are getting into. So that really helps generate ideas and what classes I want to play. So yeah, it's a very conditional question. Is because like what information do I have in order to make my character? So I don't usually have like a back burner character that I'm gonna play this character because I like to make my characters that fit within the world.
Mhm. Makes sense.
It's interesting. Well, my only experience has been with 5e, so that's all I know. I don't know what any of the previous editions were like, what options they had. I will say one thing I have noticed about 5e and talking to people like you, Moves, who have played other editions, like it seems like D&D has been continuously streamlining a lot of things. They're cutting things out, they're combining things together. And while on one hand, I can see the sort of like where I felt like in older editions you had a ton of options. Now it's become less. I feel like a lot of 5e stuff, and this can be good or bad depending on how you look at it, but it does seem to rely heavily on the player to flavor a character. And so it's less about like how many different mechanics are there, like how many different classes, subclasses, what they do. And they seem to have streamlined that and then are saying it's up to you, player, how you're going to play this. Here's what we got. You flavor it how you want to. And I so in a way there's a little more freedom in that because you can kind of get wild with some characters still, but then mechanically, obviously, there's less there compared to previous editions. Um, just from somebody who's
Mhm.
recently come into the
Mm.
game and
Well,
just yeah,
I'll say too, and I've played 3.5 moves, not as much as you have. And I'm in the bucket that I think was 3.5 was way overtuned and way much shit in there. And it's like
Yeah,
ridiculous to
agreed.
try and make a character because there's so
Agreed.
many
Absolutely.
options. Uh,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I enjoy 5e. So I don't think you're missing out too much there, VS. There's some gems in fourth edition that have made it over fifth edition and some house rules that I use, but I don't think you're really missing out other than not having the warlord class. I wish they would just do that in fifth edition or something like it. But anyway.
I
Yeah.
guess
I
that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
like if we ever did like a one shot where like I ran a 3-5 campaign and then I told you guys my characters, like there's so much information that everyone would really just have decision paralysis because there's too much. But yeah, I agree. 3-5. There's too much in 3-5. It's way much more crunchier. But I felt I was able to make the characters I wanted to make. Whereas in fifth, like, all right, man, I already said this, but yeah. So it really, the identity of my character in fifth edition on it just really comes through flavor, as you said, and just like how I role play that character. If I want to be
Mhm.
quirky or funny, think I think I've only have I? Maybe I haven't. Maybe I haven't played a fighter. Did I?
Ever?
Maybe once. in 5th edition.
Played an Eldritch Knight as a fighter.
Um, yeah, so I guess on the question, for me, I'm I'm one of those people that's constantly like will just have character ideas come to them randomly every day, some days. And then so when a new campaign comes around, I'll have several ideas in mind of at least what they may look like, what a personality might be like, and then that kind of goes to informing. Okay, if I want to my character to be this way and to act this way, what classes would sort of fit that role, and can I make it work? The classes that are available in the subclasses, how can I make it work based off of this sort of pre-existing picture I have in my mind? So I think I start with an idea first, and then start to
Mhm.
look at classes, and then once we actually get information, like you said, setting limitations, then that further helps me sort of narrow down. Okay, this setting, magic is illegal, which could be fun to play a caster in that setting, but this specific character might have a better time, and I might be able to do more with it if I was somebody that's not a caster, and I think it might fit their personality a little better.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how I tend to go about it. Just ideas up there, and I try to make them work within the confines of what's available in 5e.
Yeah.
What about you, Max?
So we got one that's class first. We got one that's more idea first. Is if we had to boil it down.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought that I was idea first, and then I started looking at my characters on D&D Beyond, and just looking at all the ones that I built, and every single one of them were like, I want to play this class. I guess I'll make this.
Yeah.
I thought I was idea, but I don't think I am. Um, there's been a couple where I've done like idea, but most of them are like, I wanted to play a paladin, or I'd like to try a ranger, or I'd like to try this subclass. And from there, I think of that general idea of like, okay, I want to play, you know, whatever. I'll pick one of my characters as I'm kind of looking at them. Let's pick a good one. So here we go. I wanted to play a paladin. And then I went from there and said, okay, well, it'll be a cool like subclass for this paladin. Say, okay, Oath of Redemption. Oh, that's interesting. What's a lineage that I want to choose? Oh, I could try Leonin. That just came out. Let's read about that. Oh, there's some cool abilities that come with that. And then once I kind of get like the base like skeleton structure, that's when like I'll either look at the doc that the DM has sent out about their world, and that's when I'll start engaging like a conversation like, hey, I wanted to play like a Leonin paladin, an Oath of Redemption. What stuff in your world would fit with that? Are there Leonin? Should I change? Like, oh, you could be from one of these areas. Okay, cool. Oath of Redemption. What would look at that come? What could that be? Oh, there's this cool story beat about this big world event that you could throw in there about. So I have like a skeleton, and then I form into the world based on, because I want my characters to be like grounded and fit in the setting. That's kind of my personal preference. And it's whatever you want to do to play, but I don't make a full character and then just like drop them into a campaign. I tend to build it
Same.
around the setting.
Yeah, I got a question, and
Yes.
so, so both of you are been playing this game for a while. Do you think when you create characters now, you both are talking about kind of class first? Do you
Mhm.
think that's part of that is because you're already that familiar with the game, and there's things that you haven't played before that you've wanted to get around to playing, and that kind of is like kind of shapes a little bit of how you go about it? Because me coming in, I played three characters, not counting one shots,
Mhm.
and so I'm not so in depth with how all the different classes work and their subclasses.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of going in without. I have some knowledge of it, but like
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's why I tend to be idea first, and then I go and
Mm,
look and learn about, okay, so if I think this character is gonna be a magic caster, you got wizard, you got druid, you got
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll learn about wizard a little bit, and I'll look through wizard and subclass and thinking, I could make that work, but maybe would a sorcerer work? And then I'll go in and I'll learn what sorcerer does and look at its subclasses. So I think that's a little bit why I do it that way. It's because I'm not as
Yeah.
like I don't have all that the I've not played a lot of characters before, so I've
Yeah.
not tried a lot of these classes and kind of know what they do for the most part.
I don't think it's a bad approach at all. I think that that might be why, because I mean, I've played a lot of characters, and there's sometimes where I'm just like, I haven't played a cleric. Maybe I want to do that.
Mm,
In the one shot that we did between campaign 1 and 2, the one that I played in, that's exactly what I did. I was like, I haven't played a cleric before. Let me try that, and then built a character around it. But I think that maybe you're onto something there, because I've for the most part played have I played all of them? All the classes? Hold on, now I'm asking the question of what I have and haven't played.
Yeah, I just feel like character creation, even going in and just messing around with D&D Beyond and making something for fun, I feel like a lot of it's still a learning experience. Like I'll go in and be like, let me see what a sorcerer would be like, and then I'll learn
hmm
some of the sorcerer mechanics, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Let me learn a little bit about druid. So I'm kind of learning as like I have these character ideas about how some of these classes
Mhm.
function.
I
So
think you're definitely onto something though, because maybe at first I was idea orientated, but yeah, I've been playing so long, and I may I'm pretty sure I played all classes in fifth edition, but like there's a handful that I haven't really like
Mhm.
delved into. Either it was like a one shot or a campaign that just kind of fell off, so I didn't really get to experience playing all the classes.
mm,
I know like sorcerer, fighter, and monk are probably my least played classes in fifth edition.
I
Um,
I haven't played a bard in 5th edition. I think I played one in D&D Next before it came out, which was very different. And I haven't played a wizard.
so I think at my career, my player career in Dungeons and Dragons so far, I
Mhm.
tend to be a backfiller. I let people play what they want to play, and then I'll pick what will like what does this group need now that everyone has decided what they've decided to play, and then I was like, all right, we need support, or so I'll make a cleric or a bard, or we need a tank, then I'll make a paladin. If and so like what role do I need to fill to make sure this party has a higher chance of not party wiping?
that's a really good point. And there is a little aspect to that when I'm creating a character too, because I can have a bunch of ideas. Then once we get setting information, then once some of the party members come out and say like, I think I'm going to play a druid, or I think I'm going to play a sorcerer, then I have more information available to me, so I
Mhm.
can kind of narrow down which ideas I might want to keep on the back burner based on like what would be a better party comp. Um, so like this time around, we're pretty caster heavy.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
say
that's
so.
why I kind of narrowed my choices down between like what was it going to be, a fighter. I
Mhm.
had a cleric, and then the last one I came up with was the rogue, and I thought, well, those would all work fine and they would fill a great role, but for setting purposes, I felt like rogue would be more fun, and
Mhm.
that's also part of it, is kinda getting more information about what our party might look like.
I think every party does some of that, because they don't want to play the same thing as someone else.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
honestly, I don't think it's a big deal as long as they're different like subclasses. They're different enough and can fill different roles. Like, I mean, you could totally do like an all warlock party or an all wizard party, and like it's up to the DM to provide challenges to you. So I think party comp is I get it. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but That's just my 2 cents. And you could be a mad lad like Zeus and just roll dice to make your characters because he knows shit does that. He doesn't
I
pick.
can't.
He
There's
rolls his
dice that
dice
do
for
that.
all of it.
That does not compute with me. I can't. I never hit random in video game character creators. I never do any of that stuff.
I think I do it at first and just to generate ideas. But
Mhm.
it definitely helps if you like just if you like have dice like Zeus and you just roll just to like think of like combinations
Mhm.
and what like, oh, maybe that's actually interesting, and then you can like formulate from there, not going like pure RNG.
He does.
Um,
He rolls to see what spells he takes when he levels up, like makes entirely random, and I can't handle
Damn.
it.
Yeah,
And
I
That's
wonder.
madness.
Like, I feel like maybe for Zeus, like he's such a long career in D&D.
done it
Maybe,
all.
yes, maybe at some point you're just like, yeah, F it, dude. Like, roll the dice.
It always seems to work out, and I don't. It always seems to work out. It's insane. Nothing. Yeah, you
Nothing
reach
really
levels of
matters.
salty that just doesn't even. You're just like
I've done
whatever.
it all. I've seen it all. Let's just
Like-
roll.
like F it. I'll make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of cases. I think something we haven't talked about is working with your DM.
Oh
That
yeah.
really can really help kind of formulate an idea for your character, even like an identity or uniqueness. I guess, for example, for my last campaign, I played with my in-person group that we wrapped up at last year. So we had the setting, everything. It was very Greek Roman theme, like mythology style, and he was telling us like the lay of the land. So I wanted to make a Goliath barbarian, and what helps also come up with ideas is the subclasses, which
Mhm.
kind of like formulates and decides like what type of barbarian I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
So I went with the aspect of the beast, so you can adopt animal forms to add bonuses to whatever when you rage. Um, and so I talked to my DM. I was like, "Yeah, we have these forms, but some of them are kind of meh." And so we ended up just homebrewing some stuff to make the character feel more unique in the world and fit in the setting. So, and then backgrounds kind of help a lot too. Like looking at backgrounds gives me really a lot of, I guess, it forms my decisions based on the background that I choose
Yeah.
for my character. So I chose gladiator, so I was like in arena, and I've got my freedom, and I have like this nickname that everyone called me in the arena, so everyone like chanted beast. And my guy was really into Greco-Roman wrestling, so I was like I had oil with me all the time. Um, but to like flavor up because my DM doesn't like Elias, so he flavored my character since it's like Roman like mythology, like Roman mythology and stuff. I was a half Titan instead of Goliath, so just to be more on theme with the setting.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
it's
think
same stats. Let's just reskin Goliath.
You're like a
I think if I
Hercules,
had
but not really.
Yeah.
that's a cool campaign idea. I think if I do that, I'd go for like, are there Minotaur? Is Minotaur a race?
Oh yeah, you could be
In
a Minotaur.
D&D?
Yeah,
Oh
for sure.
yeah.
That'd be so in like a Greco-Roman setting. That'd be so sick. Like a Minotaur fighter or something like that. That'd be so cool.
The
Yeah.
original
If I get stuck,
release of Minotaur was nautical themed in 5th edition
Oh,
when it was
really?
when it was in UA. I'm pretty sure.
nautical team.
I think so, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you could be a
I didn't-
centaur. Crazy stuff.
So you brought up backgrounds. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the list of backgrounds available in 5e, even with some of the ones that come from like optional content,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
are kind of limited. So that's why this
Yes.
campaign I just picked custom background because nothing really fit what I was like trying to go after.
Yeah.
In the first campaign, I did like mercenary veteran or something like that because I didn't know about the custom backgrounds. But it's not that long a list, and some of them are like, with what you get for them, it's like, yeah, that it makes sense, but it's like, how would I make that fit in a way that feels good? I just feel like there's not there needs to be more, I think, with backgrounds.
Agreed.
I almost always do custom background, but I agree. I think that backgrounds are a little weak in 5th edition for like actual mechanics. They give you good ideas for like, personality traits, bonds, and
Yeah.
flaws and ideals and stuff. There's good thought starters there. Like, how often does like your background like characteristic actually come up in a campaign?
10 out of 10. I never use it. I
I think
always forget.
I think in the first campaign I utilized mercenary veterans like twice when we
Mhm.
were in a town. I was like, oh, I guess I'll go work, and then it's just theater of the mind. Like, oh, I went and worked. Like,
Yeah.
there's not really anything exciting to do with it, unless you take that background that's there and you work with the DM to come up with like a cool backstory tie into the campaign or something with it. But even then, it's like just go for custom then.
Yeah. I love that idea, Borticus, of
I
like
want it
having like
now.
commoner classes and stuff. Because I've always wanted to, like, I always had the thought of like starting a campaign, like, or doing something as like level 0, where everyone's just a commoner and they kind of work their way up. But that really doesn't translate well in 5th edition. That's just a good way to get your party killed, pretty much. Just have everyone start as level 0 characters.
3-5 did it, baby. I'm just but yeah, I agree, Borges. That would be I would pick fisherman every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would be cool to have commoner classes for your background where you're skilled in a thing and it helps you with whatever.
Hmm.
Like
I'm gonna look
fishing.
at
Like
all the
fishing
backgrounds
would be
now.
great for Azric, and I can get fish all the time because we're on a boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like uh, I guess would they tie that into like your survival stat in some
Mhm.
way?
Yeah, most likely. Let's see. That's another discussion. We should do commoner backgrounds and come up with some.
Yeah, and there's some that are like by name only, but I don't know, like, mechanically they don't really do much, right?
Yeah, I feel like most of the time, backgrounds are really a way to get some like extra proficiencies and stuff, and maybe another language or tool skill.
Yeah.
And there's not much more to it, really.
Now I'm wondering like what would commoner classes give you? We'll have to save this. Commoner
Yeah,
classes. Write
All right.
that down. Hold
Right.
on.
Yeah, write it down.
and that's something I think the designers of D&D right now also recognize is that backgrounds are kind of not doing much because they're talking
Yeah.
about like adding feats to them and all.
Yeah.
So I feel like they know it's kind of a weak spot.
Hmm.
So they might change it around enough to where it's something that that has a bit more weight for a character when making a character.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure. But that's a great idea. Um Yeah, I don't know. I think that they're like when we're talking about back to the question of like how do you make sure your character is unique in that class, right? So we're doing, let's say a third campaign and we're doing, I don't know, pick a class, one of you. Just pick any class, whatever you want.
I almost said mage. That's not a class. Wizard.
uh yeah, wizard.
Wizard. All right, so we're doing an Oops All Wizards campaign. Um what are some ways to make our characters unique in that class? I think
Uh,
the big one's obviously subclass, or like your School of Magic. That's for
Yeah.
true for any class.
Yes. Subclass and school. Just I think it's probably easier for wizard because there's so many schools that
That's
each
true.
wizard could focus on. So you can have really specialized oops all wizards, each
how about
whether
then?
specialize in a school.
How about
Mhm.
then barbarian? Because barbarian has
Barbarian.
a number of different subclasses, but generally the feel of the class doesn't change too much, as far as I can tell.
Mm, okay, we can do
It doesn't
barbarian.
seem like it.
I would agree with that.
So how would we differentiate if we had all barbarians? How would we make them?
Still, subclass is going to help some
Yeah,
in this. Also, your choice of race will help
Hmm.
as well.
Race is a big
Just
factor.
just for like how people interact with your character, like what initial things you get from that. Um, that's going to be another factor. Because I mean, unless we wanted to all be human barbarians, which yeah, it's really cool. You can all be from the same tribe and have your game rolled up that way. But if we're talking about things that would be unique, um, I know that I would choose Path of the Giant because I really want to play that subclass. So
I did it. I didn't do it in the one shot.
you didn't rage, did you?
I didn't rage. I was so upset with myself that I never raged in the one shot.
So, yeah, so subclasses, right? I mean, and if I choose Path of the Giant, I'm just gonna throw my weapon from a distance. So that's different. That's
Yeah,
a
you could
pretty
have
different subclass though, but
what is it? The totem,
the Totem Warrior.
which where you can have like what is it? Different animal totems, and they
Yeah.
let you do. So there's ways to flavor it with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it really comes 100% it comes down to subclasses for barbarians because when all barbarians are not raging, they are basically the same.
Well, we could vary it by weapons that you'd want to choose as well. You could vary it by what proficiencies we select as far as like tool proficiencies or like our background, where we come from there. We could also mix it up via what feats we take, if feats are allowed, which this is my imaginary scenarios that are allowed. What feats you select could differentiate your character. You know, someone that's going to take like Sentinel might be very different than, let's say, one of us take like Magic Initiate. You know, yeah, you can't use it while you're raging, but you can provide a lot of other utility. Or like Ritual Caster. Imagine if someone took Ritual Caster as a barbarian. That can add a whole different dimension of their character for sure.
Ritual casting wild magic barbarian.
I mean, yeah, I don't even think it has to be. It could be whatever barbarian you want.
Yeah, and I think there's like a feat too that's kind of tied in, maybe a little bit more with like Goliaths, but would work for barbarians in general. Is the one that the rune smith or the rune carver feat,
Rune carver.
yeah.
Yeah. I actually took that for my Greco-Roman barbarian.
Yeah, which gives you kind of a unique way to cast some magics, I guess. While you're a
I
barbarian.
like rune carver for martial classes. It was a lot of fun when I used it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess did we cover most of like the mechanical ways I think
Yeah,
that we could differentiate?
I think I haven't sorted through my mental
Weapons,
Rolodex.
subclass,
Armor,
race, subclass, equipment, feats,
yeah,
and
let's
skills.
say one of us, you know, wants to do the no armored, the unarmored, you know, barbarian. Another one wants to do like the medium armor and go for like half plate or something like that. That'd be a big difference, like visually, to how your character is.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. You're always gonna go naked barbarian. I mean,
I don't ever do it. I always do the armor.
Huh.
Can't get oil on the body with armor. You gotta grease up.
You just oil the armor, man.
That's true. That's true.
You can't just rip your shirt off and
Yeah.
Outside of that, I guess just flavor, how you flavor it, personality, what their what their outfit looks like,
Yeah,
what their weapon looks like.
not all barbarians are the dumb barbarian trope. You know, there's different ways to rage. You know.
Yeah, there's wild magic barbarians, which is another crazy thing.
Which in D&D next, barbarians could basically rage and do whatever the fuck they want. So
love it.
Yeah.
In this, you mentioned the dex-based barbarian that wields a bow. For that'd be interesting. Other than the rage part relies on strength, I believe. I've always wanted to play, and this is a little off topic. I really want to play a rogue barbarian multi-class. Like I just want to do it. But that's beside the point. I think it'd be fun or funny or both.
So I guess there's still quite a few ways, like
Yeah.
within 5e's mechanics, that you can kind of flavor a character to be unique to somebody else's. Um, I
And
just
if
don't. I feel like a lot of it is also flavor. They leave a lot open to the player to have the
yeah,
freedom to kind of non outside of mechanics be able
I
to
mean,
flavor their character.
yeah, personality and like personality traits and what drives your character, like where they're from,
Mhm.
how you RP them, or like with even like if you do your backgrounds, if you remember to use your characteristic and bring it up a lot, that might be helpful. So let me pick a random one for um my fictional barbarian. Let's say I took, like ritual caster and I chose to be like an acolyte or something like that. Then you have like the shelter of the faithful, character trait. So if you visit any area, you can perform like religious ceremonies for your deities. Maybe you're more of a religious barbarian. You're not quite a paladin, but you can go around spreading the gospel of whatever pantheon you want. That'd be a fun twist on a barbarian. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I never really considered thinking of building characters that way. Just
Mhm.
picking certain aspects, and then it's like, oh yeah, let's just make it weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they rage because they get mad because you're not a good enough believer. They're like, "What, you don't believe?"
Yeah. I mean, let's pick another one at random. I've got a list of them up. So, um, I mean, this one sounds hilarious. A noble, picking a noble background as your barbarian. Like, what kind of story could you base that off of? Right.
Jekyll and Hyde immediately comes to mind. Somebody from like
Hmm.
a learned background, nobility, but has just this inherent beastly nature to them that comes out, and you
Yeah.
can decide why and how or what drives that change. That's what
Mm.
immediately popped in my head.
Oh man. Also, they have that variant feature of where you can have retainers instead of position of privilege, which is basically you're noble and people actually treat you like it. There's a variant feature where you have retainers, where you have three people that are loyal to you and your family that follow you around. Like they're NPCs, they can't fight for you or anything, but you just see like your noble barbarian getting ready to get into a fight. Like calmly takes off his glasses and his cloak, hands it to his retainer, like he's getting ready to go into a duel or something.
Has like an overcoat that somebody comes up from behind and takes off
Just,
their
yeah.
coat for them. Like,
They're like, Jeffries,
Yeah.
come hither. I'm ready
I'm
to
about
prepare for
to
battle.
whoop ass, as they say.
Yeah. I do believe I'm going to rage now.
And you address the party like, you don't mind if I rage.
Now, would it put you out too much if I were to rage at this moment?
I'm going to apologize before I rage.
I'm about to become very unseemly. I
Yeah.
apologize.
And then when you're done raging, your retainers put down a chair and you sit down and they hand you a cup of tea and you're like,
powder your face a little bit.
Yeah.
oh, that sounds
Love
like an
it.
awesome character. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just those little things, and like I would almost guarantee that even if you're playing an Oops All Barbarians game, like that character is going to be vastly different than someone else's barbarian,
Oh,
more than likely.
imagine the hypocrisy that could come from that, where if you have a player that's like the through and through dumb, just wants to beat everything up, and then you have that juxtaposed with the refined guy, and he just looks at the other one like disgusting.
Yeah.
But then goes right into a rage and does the same thing.
Yeah, you've got your
So
through and through barbarian, your noble barbarian, your religious
just like-
barbarian.
He's just like, oh, so barbaric.
Yeah.
I don't even like
Amazing.
using the word.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, that's actually
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, I think once you really dig in and see like what small tweaks you can make, even outside of just purely role play, like all this stuff will generate fun ideas. for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think an interesting one that could have a lot of different results is Bard too.
Yeah.
Um, Depending on your subclass again, because they have a bunch of kind of nice differentiating subclasses with that, and how they behave, and what sort of personalities you can combine with that. Like, I'm imagining you're classically trained violinist, and then maybe somebody else is more of like a punk rocker type of, bard with a
Uh,
drum or something,
Yeah, I wouldn't do a singing or like musician bard. I would straight up do something kind of like a skald,
Yeah,
more like
poetry.
Nordic, and just do like poetry and like regale like stories of battle and stuff like that and go that direction, which would be very different than someone who's like pulling out their lute and singing a song.
Yeah.
I would do Mongolian throat singing. If I was bard.
Mm.
If I had to rely on vocals, I would
That'd be
definitely
cool.
do throat singing.
Aren't they coming out with like a dancer version of a bard or something
And
like that?
yeah, in one
So
D&D.
that's even a different take on a bard too.
Yeah.
More performance, but not singing or poetry, actual physical dance and
Mhm.
ballerina on fools.
I don't know the mechanics of this, but like, what if you were a Pictionary bard? You drew inspiration mid combat. You have
I mean, maybe
6 seconds. You
Something
have
like
less
a
than 6 seconds to
pictomancer that just
draw something to that draw
just say
that
a pictomancer.
pictomancer.
that's a class in Final Fantasy.
Oh
That's
wow.
happening in the
You
next Final
actually
Fantasy
like
14
draw
expansion.
art in the air and it comes to life. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. I mean, maybe you could probably.
One said like a more warrior type of bard that does like a haka as their performance.
Mm,
Like that's pretty cool.
interesting. Yeah. A magic haunted paintbrush. Sure. Why not?
Oh
Talk,
man, that'd be cool. A talking paintbrush.
talk about people that can come up with interesting character concepts. She's the person you need to talk to. Bun.
She seems like she has a lot of great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
People come up to you and draw me like one of your girls.
Imagine an artist bard with a talking magic paintbrush that critiques everything they do.
They're never good enough. It's the
Yeah.
spirit of their dead father that's constantly ridiculing them that they'll never be good
You
enough.
would use that shade of blue.
Their dead father was a world renowned painter that they're trying to
So
constantly live
rudimentary.
up to.
Yeah.
I went the opposite route. Like every time you use the paintbrush, it screams because it feels pain.
Oh god.
Jeez.
So you just hear screaming as you're trying to paint something.
Or even different
dark.
still, your little easel could have like a spirit of a Bob Ross type character that said, "Oh yes, let's paint a happy scene."
See that bush right there?
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, there's limitless. 'Cause I feel like some of them, like you said, wizards, it would be pretty easy to differentiate because there's so many spells and so many schools. I feel like cleric is the same way. There's tons of options and domains for clerics.
Sorcerer.
Yeah, sorcerer, which is really more about your origin of how your powers came to be, which
Mhm.
is kind of a leg up there. I think I mean, even when we were talking about like fighter, there's different enough subclasses like that really differentiate the fighter. Like
Rogues
think
too. I mean, you have your regular sneaky ninja-like rogues. You have your magic using rogues.
Mhm.
You have rogues that have like powers of ghosts or phantoms, or there's all kinds of.
Got your inquisitor, your smart rogue,
Yeah.
based off intelligence. I think it's inquisitor. But yeah, there's plenty I think to do, but I don't know. As long as you're happy when you're rolling dice, that's all that matters.
I mean, that's the point. Having a good time,
Yeah.
hanging out with the don't want to say bros anymore. Ladies are included
Hmm.
with the gang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that with the gang.
To kind of bring the question back around towards the end, I guess it's no matter what method you go about creating a character, as long as you make something that you know you're going to enjoy and you're going to have fun at the table or online with your friends, that's I think that's should be the primary motivating factor. What am I going to have fun with? What am I going to is it going to be fun with the table of people I'm playing with? And
Mhm.
just you can, as long as you got that and you feel good about it, then it doesn't really matter what method. I think in the end, just as long as you get to that point where you're kind of satisfied with what you've got.
Yeah, at that point it's job done, right? To have fun.
Hmm.
So let us know how you make your characters. I'm interested. Are you an idea person? Are you a class first? Are you a background first? I don't know. What are
Yeah,
you?
Do you already have 5 characters made and you're just waiting to drop them in a campaign?
yeah.
My friend's like that. He's like got a backlog characters ready to go any moment.
Let us know in the
Amazing.
comments.
But yeah, thanks for watching and or listening. If you have some topics you want us to cover, go check out our Discord. It's discord.gg/casters and cantrips. And there are a couple channels, one of which is Tome of Knowledge Topics, where we found this topic from. So bring that up and drop something in there. And I think we know what our next week's topic is already. We've already discussed it. So I'll just go ahead and
We did discuss it.
little sneak peek here is that next week we're doing characters that shouldn't work. So we're all gonna make a character that shouldn't work. That is sort of, I don't want to say opposite of what the class is, but what I guess
Yeah.
it's gonna subvert expectations is the idea. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that and come back next week. So anyway, have a fantastic evening and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.